got him. That's a big one, or a nice one it feels like. Oh, I always say big when I set the hook on a muskie, but it's a nice fish. That's cool. That was a great jump, Jeff. Woo! Water's hot. Muskies are biting. I love it. Jeff and I are in a sweet place, Sunset Country, Ontario, in Wabigoon Lake. And we're fishing for muskies and maybe a little bit of everything. But this show is going to be all about electronics. We are in a great place, Lake Wabigoon. It's a really dirty water fishery, and what a great place to showcase how electronics can be used to help you find fish. All right, pop that out, bucktail back. There's a muskie, not a big one. So I'm just gonna let him go. Water's warm. See you, dude. So for a little tiller boat, you might look at all the screens and gadgets in this boat and think that's overkill, and maybe for a lot of people it is, but we're gonna walk through why we have each piece of technology here in the boat and how we use it. Okay, so we're gonna head to a new spot, and with this boat, I fish both, you know, with the tiller motor, so trolling, back trolling, and then of course in the bow, casting. So the boat has 4 screens in it, and it has mapping, it has 2D sonar, it's got down imaging, side imaging, and live imaging. And so what I like about the way this boat is set up is I can look at any transducer wherever it is on the boat, and I can also look at the maps wherever I am in the boat. So whether it's waypoints, whether it is my Lake Master chip, I'm able to see all this stuff. So everything is networked together. And when we're fishing Canadian shield water like this, of course these fisheries are vast, and Wabigoon is just a great example of a place where electronics are extremely important, especially mapping, because you can't see. It's not like being on a lake trout lake where you can see a reef, you know, from a quarter mile away, where here you're not gonna know about the reef until you're basically on it. So what I have for the mapping in here is I've got Lake Master's VX chip for the Ontario. Now if you fish Canadian waters, without it, it is really difficult to navigate. I'm not saying you can't come out here and navigate on paper, but having an electronic map and being able to make a map with that Zero Lines card is amazing. Just unbelievable. So to me, that's the most important tool that we have in this boat for navigating and for finding spots, is having a good map. That combined with the auto chart system, I feel like we're pretty good to go just about anywhere. Oh, you got one? Nice, awesome, Jeff. Woo!
That was cool.
That was cool. Top water, baby.
Yeah.
In the slop, I love it.
Top water in the slop. Let's go. Awesome, thank
Cool.
you.
Great, man. Woo! Woohoo! Boom, your little top water
Right.
produced. I will get out of your way.
Let's go.
Let you go ahead and hold your spotted leopard.
All right. Well, I would say you got to start somewhere, and that's where we're starting with that muskie right there. You know, Jared and I love to fish muskies, so we're up here chasing these. We'll probably chase some other fish too, but the main point is Jared has this boat absolutely rigged out with electronics, and there are so many features in these electronics that'll help you catch more and bigger fish, and that's what we're going to talk about. Awesome.
So with all this technology in the boat, there's only so much information that you can look at any given time, and that's of course based on how much screen real estate you have. So in the bow here, I've got an Apex 16 as well as a Solix 12. And I don't change the screen configuration all that much when I'm casting. I pretty much have the Apex 16 set up for Mega Live. It's a huge fish. And the bigger that image is, the more information you're going to be able to see. Not that it isn't there on a smaller screen, it just makes it a lot easier to see. Oh, there you engage with it. Oh, he likes it. When they're not biting, they're not biting. On the Solix 12, I have side imaging and I've got the map on top. So the side imaging paints me a picture of what's off to the side so I could see that, you know, okay, we're about 30 feet away from a weed line or the edge of a rock pile. And then with the forward facing, I'm able to forecast what's coming up ahead of us in terms of the structure. So to me, that setup is absolutely the best way to have this, this laid out for this Canadian Shield musky fishing. One of the technologies that gets overlooked all the time that's still incredibly important is 2D sonar. And what we use the 2D sonar for primarily is looking at high speed. So it's a great tool to be able to run wide open, still see what the depth is, and then also a lot of these Canadian Shield lakes too have a lot of rock where it's hard to tell if you're driving over them with side imaging if there's indeed fish there. So we're using it for finding fish, especially in rocks, but also it's great for ripping across the lake, being able to see how deep it is, and if we do see the sonar start to come up, we can slow down and be cautious. Another really important piece of information to have on these Canadian lakes that aren't marked well, that have hazards, is your track. So, you know, a lot of times when you're going to a new spot, you're taking it easy, going slow, and once you have that track, try to get in the habit of saving it when you come in at night, because after a certain amount of time, it's going to start to rewrite that track. And I've made the mistake of getting good routes to a certain part of the lake, and then I forget to save it, and then the next time I want to go there, I have to go through the slow process again of making that track. So try to get in the habit of saving tracks every time you go check out a new spot.
Got one.
Yep, yes. Sweet, Jeff.
Chair. Uh-huh.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah,
oh,
buddy.
Yeah, nice one,
Woo.
too. Yes.
All right.
Deep rocks. Yeah, buddy.
Oh. Oh, come here, buddy.
Oh, we got you all tied up. Good job, man.
All right.
Cool. Look at that.
That's fun, huh?
That's great.
Woo.
Awesomeness.
Boom.
Good job. What'd you make,
Nice.
2 casts of that bait?
Huh?
Made like 2 casts of that
2
bait?
casts, second cast. Took me a while to get rigged up.
Yeah. That is outstanding, sir. Look at that. Pretty cool. So we've been bouncing around looking at, you know, of course, different types of habitat. And Wabigoon is known for fishing, you know, a lot of weeds. So we kind of came out on this island complex, and there's a nice big boulder complex that comes out here that you can see on side imaging. And Jeff made a couple casts on some rocks that were in 8 to 12 feet. Bingo, no fish in the weeds. Well, look to the rocks.
Oh, yeah, nice.
That's awesome. Chair, second cast.
Second
With that-
cast,
with that
homemade
bait.
bait.
That's so cool. Oh man, you know, there's a little musky right here. Let's go. Gotcha. Okay, that's a better fish there. Whoa, nice. Cool.
Beautiful fish.
Cool. You know, we were throwing a lot of these weed beds and not seeing much, so Jer said, let's go look for some rocks. And that's what we did. He was using that side imaging, found this nice finger, made my second cast, and whammo. So we might start fishing the rocks.
I think that's a good idea.
Woo, let's let that fish go. Okay. Still got lots of fire in her. Won't take long.
Good job, man. That fish Jeff just caught was on a beautiful pile of boulders. And when it comes to finding good rock structure, there isn't a better tool available than side imaging. So it really does an amazing job of showing you what the habitat underneath the water looks like. So when we're exploring a lot of these spots, most of the time I'm looking at side imaging. It's really important for me to see where transitions are, and as well as the rock and the type of rock. So when you're fishing the shield water, round rocks like round boulders and then broken rock is really the stuff you're looking for. A lot of the smooth, flat rock doesn't tend to hold as many fish as areas that have, you know, the big boulders and the broken rock where there's a lot of crevices for fish to hang out and hide. Those seem to be the best areas. Side imaging can show you that type of habitat. AutoChart is just an amazing tool, especially for this shield fishing. And so a couple things to keep in mind is, one, you are going to need a zero lines card for each unit that you want to have an AutoChart map on. So in the back, I have a zero lines card in the Solix 12 that I use basically exclusively for mapping. And I have another zero lines card in the bow of the boat. So what I've done as a little hack with this is I've used the network to tell the bow unit to use the rear transducer. So that way, anytime I'm traveling, I'm still able to record a map on the bow just as I am here. Now, if I wasn't doing that, I'd be choosing the bow transducer to make that map, and when the trolling motor's pulled, I'm not creating a map in the bow. Next, you know, as you're traveling, we find spots like this. I'll just buzz around and check things out. So we just made a map of a reef, a high spot we came across, and we do that all the time. You're going from point A to point B, you see a little rise, do a couple loops around it, and you might find a great musky reef with the crowns that are, you know, 3 to 5 feet deep, or you might find some great walleye reefs. But either way, on a week-long Canadian fishing trip, you'd be amazed at how much data you collect and how great your map can be even after a week. And then you start putting those trips together year after year, and pretty soon you've got a really sweet map of an uncharted Canadian lake. On?
Got one.
Nice, Jeff. All right. What do you think you got there, Bubba?
I have no idea.
Well, you know what? If it's an edible model, it's going in the musky net. That's what we got.
That'll shrink things.
Yeah.
Waldo.
Is it a big Waldo?
Nice one, yeah.
Cool. Oh, it's a really nice walleye. Whew. Well, look at that, huh?
Yeah.
Cool.
Look at that.
That's outstanding, man. Good job.
Don't leave the jigging raps at home. Good
That's
job,
right.
Jer.
Good job, Jeff. This is amazing how that jigging rap just catches fish.
Oh, those jigging raps are just absolutely fabulous, fabulous tool. Once you learn how to fish them, they're gonna produce walleyes all over the country. I'll guarantee you that. Awesome. Back to the depths.
Back to the depths. If you look at the conditions, it's obviously not the best musky weather. And obviously, you know, Wabigoon can be one of those places where even in tough, you know, bright sunny conditions, fish can still bite, but right now they do seem off more morning, evening, less day than what we saw. So now we're taking a break, getting some action in smallmouth. Oh, there's a bunch with them, Jeff. Drop your bait right down here. That's always the fun part about, there you go, right there. Does he see ya? That's a nice little fish.
Yeah.
Cool. That's great. Oh boy, he's really puking up. Looks like crayfish parts coming out. Imagine that. Beautiful, beautiful brown bass, and it's fun coming on these adventures doing a little bit of multi-species fishing like this. And we came in and we're actually looking for some weed beds. And as we've been talking about technology, one of the other technologies we haven't mentioned is down imaging. And that technology is something we often use to really truth what you'd be seeing with 2D sonar. So we'll go through some of these cabbage beds and I'll show you how we use the down imaging technology to make sure that it's not bait, it really is weeds if that's what we're looking for. As we're going through this cabbage bed, you can see when we're in the most dense cover that it's pretty obvious to see with both the 2D and the down imaging that it's cabbage. But as you start to get closer to the edge, you'll notice on the bottom there's little, looks like tufts, or could be small schools of bait, but on the down imaging screen you can see those vertical lines, and it's just showing you that they're plants and it's not necessarily bait fish. So in this case, it's not like the bottom's carpeted in bait, it's just some other plants growing in a little bit deeper water next to the edge of that really dense cabbage. One of the great things with musky rods today is that they're set up for fishing just like you would for bass. So they're really presentation specific. And I've got Mojo musky in the boat, Legend Tournament musky, and then Legend Elite musky. So kind of, you know, the whole family of rods. And one of the pieces I want to show you here on, it's this Mojo musky, which is also available in the famed Legend Tournament, is the new grasp 2 handle. So I'm sure a lot of folks saw this kind of pistol grip style that came with the first grasp handle originally. I personally prefer to have just kind of the old school grip on here, but now what you can do with these is you can set it up to be whatever you want it to be. But if I loosen this reel seat, I can either remove this and place a blank plate in here, which is great if you've got like the Downeaster rod holder, so you could troll with the same setup. You can use the palming style grip, or if you prefer the pistol style grip, they're all interchangeable on the back side of the handle. So that's a really nice feature that they've got in these Mojo and Legend Tournament rods. So depending on what you're doing or what you're most comfortable with, you've got this option to set the rod up to be how you want to fish it for the situation that you're fishing.
You know, our favorite musky reels are the Daiwa Lexa and the Daiwa Pro Rex. Now within that, we like the models that are the 300 series, the 400 series. There's even a 500 series. It's a big reel for if you're throwing big rubber. Now within that, there are gear ratios. So depending on what types of bait you're throwing, there's a 5.3, a 6.3, 7.1, and an 8.1. And if I'm using a bigger bucktail that has a 12 size blades, I'll go to the lower gear ratio. With a jerk bait, you know, you might use a higher gear ratio. So you're jerking and you're picking up line faster. So there's a rhyme and a reason for all these reels we're using. As far as line goes, I prefer the Suffix Pro Mix. That line is an absolute beautiful line. In fact, I'll be honest with you, that's the only line I use for musky fishing. It's just a beautiful line for casting for muskies. So that's kind of your setup when it's concerning reels and line.
Got boat shy.
Why are they so boat shy?
Dang, that sucks. Damn. It's like a 40, 42. Decent. Here's one. This one's hot. She nipped the tail the first when I was ripping through those weeds.
First turn. Two in here. Wow. Huh.
Still grunt. Oh, look at this one.
Yep, that's a big one. Oh. Got him. Sure.
Nice, that was cool, man. Awesome. This is like the faster you can go, the better it was. That is fantastic, dude. Whoa, come on over here, muskie. That is one of the things I love about these Canadian fish, is how much, whoa. They love to bite at the boat and how you can go really fast. That was 3 fish in like 10 casts. Wow, we've been looking all over to find cooler water, and we just did, and we got a pack of muskies. This has been fantastic. I'll get you guys a peek at this beautiful Wabagoon dirty water muskie here. Beautiful fish. Of course, you can come up here and just cast a trolling line and catch a few fish, but utilizing technology can make the process so much more efficient, and you're gonna be on fish a lot more of the time. Woo, that is awesome.
Over the years, people have asked me, Al, you're a professing Christian, you believe in the Bible, you follow what it says. How do you know you're right? How do you know that you're right in what you believe? Good question, isn't it? I'll give you my story of why I believe the way I believe. I looked for a couple years after seeing my brother's life turn around and my sister-in-law and my wife's life turn around, the difference in their life after they turned their life over to the Lord made a big impact on me. You know, and I said, can this really be real? Is this that powerful? Is it really, really real? Did all of this happen? And as I made the decision, bent my knee, turned my life over to the Lord, and the reality of change. The way that I knew that I was right is the change of my heart, the change of the way I'm thinking, the change of the things I heard, where I went, what I did. I started to get checks in my spirit. This was real. The Spirit of God became alive in my body, in my mind. It became alive to me, and it changed everything. Everything that I looked at that was important before started to have different focus to it. The Spirit of God becomes alive. That's what he talks about in the Bible. When you turn your life over to him, ask Jesus to be Lord of your life and forgive your sins, all of a sudden God's own Spirit comes into your body and he's going to start to guide you. He's going to guide you. You're going to be touched. Your heart is going to be touched in so many different ways. I don't know any other religious belief system that happens that way. You are a changed person. The Bible says you're a new creature, a mighty man or woman of God. Different, and this is an ongoing thing for your whole life. No matter how old you are, when you turn your life over to God, it's something, it just keeps growing and growing and growing. The more sensitive you become to the things of God on a daily basis. Daily basis, you see things that you've never seen before. That's my answer to that question. How do I know I'm right? I'm a different man than I was beforehand. That's for sure. And it's all for the better. Simple answer. That's who I am. That's the answer to it. And I'm sticking to it. Hey, from all of us here at The Edge, you have a good fishing season. We'll see you on the water.
Closed captioning is provided by Smooth Moves, adjustable boat seat suspensions for a smoother ride. This segment is brought to you by Big Bite Baits, designed to bring the big bite to your line.
So that was on a number 8 Shad Rap.
Your style of boat control is really key.
One that was there from the very beginning.
You want to be able to see in the water. The adventure begins.
We are loaded for bear. We got
You know,
bites.
there's so many different ways to fish for walleye. Dependability and efficiency.
Simple, fast, and easy.
The best rods on the planet. They like to eat when you're throwing the right thing.
You don't have all bluebird flat calm days.
Just a perfect eating size fish. See, that's what I'm talking about, these Daiwa drag.
We got walleye stuff, we got crappie stuff, we got pike stuff.
This boat is rigged up about as nice.
Easy to use, and it flat out works.
It's a must-have when you're talking about big waves. Well, these trout are so darn tough.
Incredible 11-year warranty.